Okay, I'm here with a 1v1 on the ladder. This is with fellow teammate TTD Harlequin on the right as Protoss against his opponent Monster, the Terran. I'm guessing it's just a coincidence they named himself Monster and has no relation to the Korean player Monster, because at least he would be playing Zerg. And we have a good luck, have fun bitch from TTD Harlequin, a U2 in response. A nice opener there. TTD Harlequin putting down a pylon actually fairly close to the ramp, a bit odd to have the first pylon quite that close because he is up against Terran, but it shouldn't be too big of a deal. And Monster starting with a wall off at his ramp. We'll see if he puts down the barracks here or if he'll go for that Slayers-esque three supply depot wall instead, with the barracks further in and protected. He can be a little awkward to have the barracks there up front, but sometimes you want to put it there first just to help deny scouting. But right now Harlequin has sent out a 9 scout, so he should be in before the wall completes, so it won't really make that much of a difference. So we'll see if he moves that, if Monster moves that later. In the meantime, Harlequin has put down his gateway toward the ramp, but not walling off. This kind of odd placement, but not too big of a deal. He does have his first gas going down at a standard time. Looking around, we do have 2 very early gas from Monster. So the most likely thing we're going to see out of this is Banshee play, but it's a bit odd to see it quite this blatant with the Protoss scout in the base. So perhaps this is just a tactic to confuse, or just a mistake in getting too much gas too early. So far we just have 1 on each gas. There we go, adding a few more in there. A few too many more, actually. 4 in gas now. In the meantime, Harlequin does have his cyber core up, as well as a second gas himself that is relatively early. He'll be able to get out a lot of sentries very quickly. Oop, almost put too many in there, but immediately catches it. So, no quick expands in this game. A bit unusual for a PvT matchup, but definitely playing it safe here. We'll see if a robo comes down next, which is a very common opener, is gate robo gate. But usually we see that off of a single gas, or adding the gas a bit later than that, but immediately into a Twilight Council. So with a Twilight Council before anything else will we see DTs. Normally that would be the opener that you see with that quick. Occasionally you see that Twilight Council with a quick blink in PvP, but I don't think we'll be seeing that in this matchup. It's not quite as effective. We're actually seeing 2 barracks out of Monster off of this double gas. He actually still has 4 in that 1 gas. See if he catches that at some point. But so far nothing spent in terms of gas for Monster, so have to wonder what he's that for. He actually doesn't even have an orbital command even started at this point. That's definitely very late. So just a very awkward build here. And somewhat directionless as well. He's gotten the 2 barracks, but he's not pushing out. Doesn't seem to be looking to do any sort of pressure or expand. If he hadn't gone for those double gas, he could have afforded an expansion by now, but instead he's just banked up nearly 600 gas, and he's actually putting down a 3rd barracks. In the meantime, Harlequin has gotten a Templar Archives immediately going into Storm, so just a super fast Storm here off of 1 gate. So if Monster had gone in for that 2 barracks pressure, that could have been a bit of a problem with that single gate. He doesn't even have the Zealot on the field after you. Actually, did he bring that Zealot? It had gotten away, but I guess he had lost that. If we look at units lost, he has lost that Zealot, so he doesn't even have any units on the field at this point other than probes. Now here comes a fair number of Marines. We have 7 on the way, but Warp Gate is finished. He does have the 3 gates. Out comes a single Zealot, which is going to run down the field. As well, we have 2 High Templars. So he immediately loses that Zealot, but he sees the Marines incoming. He doesn't have any support for those High Templar. He's going to have to wait for a warp in. Here's another warp in. He pulls back with those Templar. They do not have enough for Storm as of yet. He has 62 energy. It'll be another 13 energy he needs. They're still building up 67. He's going to lose this gateway. That's a pretty large loss this early in the game. So pretty much nothing. This isn't a great deal of investment. The monster looks like Harlequin's also going to lose a Stalker. 78, 79, he has enough for Storm now, but that was not really necessary. He could have cleaned that up with just the Stalkers, but he ends up losing 2 more Stalkers. Loses out of that 2 Zealots, 2 Stalkers, and a Gateway for the cost of 7 Marines. That's well worth it for Monster. But what we did not see there is an expansion go down. Would have liked to have seen that. Instead, now he's putting down a factory. Harlequin has built up a large bank of minerals. With the tech advantage he has now with the High Templar, he could go in for that expansion, but he doesn't have any sentries on the field and doesn't really have a good idea of what his opponent is doing. So it would be a bit questionable. And it does look like he had put in this very odd bunker placement. I had missed that. Not that's denying the expansion, but no SCV there to repair 3 Marines in a bunker. Not going to, shouldn't really keep the expansion away for very long. Meantime, we do have another push out with another 8 Marines and 2 Marauders on the way. The reinforcements will not be rallied out, so we'll keep those back at home. Still just another straight up pressure, not anything all in. Well, Harlequin also has not expanded here. We do have an expansion going up for Monster in the meantime, though, so he is finally getting that at about the 10-minute mark. You usually like to see that around 6 minutes, if not earlier. But Harlequin also staying on that 1 base. Definitely has built up a fair army here. So Monster's not really going to be able to do anything to Harlequin, but he has managed to keep him contained for quite a while. A bit weird to send up the Marauder. You'd think you send up the cheaper Marine in that situation. And here comes the Stim up with the Marines. Not great control there, just sort of running around and taking a lot of free hits. And does almost no damage, falls back to the bunker. Yes, he has 3 Marines and an SCV in there right now. So we do have the expansion moving down to the natural for Monster. He has started getting siege tanks and siege tech on the way. Though in terms of worker count, only 24 SCVs. Very low. He hasn't been building those constantly, so that's really hurting him. He's also building up quite a lot of energy on that orbital command. I'd like to see those mules used. He still has a huge bank. He hasn't really invested in any sort of tech that uses a lot of gas. And this tank is out of position. He loses it for free, as well as these Marines in the middle of nowhere. Now the counterattack, the Marines run out of the bunker. 2 sentries are back at home to help clean this up. Loses 1, but takes out the rest of those Marines, and the attack is on the way. Monster actually starts morphing that orbital. As the attack is coming, I would have expected him to just lift off and move back into his main with that large of an army coming at him. He's at a very large supply deficit at this point, and there's going to be almost no stopping this army. As Harlequin breaks through, he's stimming the Marines, and Harlequin's pretty much just ignoring it, taking out that factory. I'm not sure that's the best target. Morphing Archons in the base, and now camping the supply, camping the production. Not really going to be anything left that he can do with 1 Marine popping out at a time. or 2, as we have these reactors, so it should just about be it. Command center floating on back in. And trying desperately to put down some bunkers. Storm goes down on the bunker, so that kills one of the SCVs. The other's still building. I don't think one bunker is going to do it, especially when you don't have any Marines left to use it. He gets 2 in that bunker, but that's not going to be nearly enough to stop this army. The army supply 48 to 3. And a storm on top of it. Not sure quite why this game has not ended yet. Fighting to the bitter end is monstrous. Looks like he's trying to be sneaky and move up into this top left expand, but he can't really hope to come back this far down, that big of an army. Building a barracks outside of the Protoss Natural for some reason. Not sure of the plan there. And now, finally, Monster has left the game. Harlequin takes it in a bit of an ugly fight between the two, but Harlequin comes out on top.